Now, back to Sonoma County's Morning News with David Wesley Page and Michelle Marquis on 1350 KSRO. Breaking news, compelling talk. Depend on it.
It is 7:18 at the News and Talk of Sonoma County, 1350 KSRO. Good morning. I'm Michelle Marquis. It is Small Business Week, and the Petaluma-based American Small Business League is heading to Washington with a new bill to address a problem with government contracts. To explain, ASBL founder Lloyd Chapman joins us live on KSRO. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm really good. So what is the problem that small businesses are facing in terms of government contracts?
Well, there's a federal law that says 23% of all government contracts should go to small businesses. That would be about $230 billion a year, and that would be the most efficient, effective economic stimulus program in U.S. history. But as CBS found out in their investigation last week, most of the money actually goes to Fortune 500 firms, and actually some of the biggest companies overseas, which is quite shocking. Finmechanic in Italy, which is a large defense contractor, and people like that. So we're trying to stop that, and it's very difficult because these big corporations have a lot of clout in government. But I'm hoping this bill, will turn it around and redirect the money to American small businesses.
Can you tell us about the bill, how it's structured?
Yeah. Well, the Small Business Act of 1953 defines a small business as being independently owned. And I talked to several attorneys, and they tell me that means many things, but the most basic thing it means is not publicly traded. So if your business is publicly traded, you're not independently owned. So I wrote my bill to say that the federal government will no longer report awards to publicly traded firms as small business awards.
Okay.
And I did that with actually the advice of a gentleman named Charles Tiefer, who's the nation's leading expert on federal contracting law. And we thought that would sort of close all the loopholes. And but this is the third time it's been introduced into Congress, and I wrote it probably, 7 years ago. And it's an uphill battle to get it passed because, again, these big corporations that are hijacking the contracts are very, very powerful in Washington.
What kinds of efforts could be made this time around with the bill to make it pass?
Well, I think, getting... For example, all of your listeners should call, Barbara Boxer and Dianne Feinstein. And it's been introduced into the House of Representatives, but it has not been introduced in the Senate yet. And we need to get it passed out of the House. So call your congressmen and call your senators and tell them. Actually, Barbara Boxer actually helped me write it originally. But I think it would be great. We should call the governor's office. In fact, I was just thinking about calling the governor's office today. If this bill passes, it would bring about $1 billion a month in additional federal contracts to California, and we could sure use those jobs and that money these days, couldn't we?
And how would listeners identify which bill they're supporting?
Okay, it's called H.R. 1622. H.R. 1622. It's the Fairness and Transparency in Contracting Act.
Okay.
And what's great about it is no new taxes, no new spending. It takes existing federal infrastructure spending and redirects it to the middle class. So I think it's, quite frankly, the most efficient, effective, economic stimulus program ever, because all the other economic stimulus programs cost, hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars. This one's free.
And Lloyd, how can people find out more about the American Small Business League?
Well, they go to our website, asbl.com, and take a look at it. You can also go on YouTube and search on Lloyd Chapman and see all of my TV appearances and all the different stories that have been done on this. And we have got a press release out today actually talking about the CBS story that ran last week about fraud and abuse in the federal small business contracting programs.
Well, we appreciate your time this morning, and we'll make sure that our listeners know more about H.R. 1622.
Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you. Lloyd Chapman, who is the founder of the American Small Business League. Find them online at asbl.com.